Everybody, this is Shane, and this video is for all the people who discovered this week that they have front rack trouble. They can't comfortably get into a front rack position for receiving a clean or doing a front squat or something like that. So what we're going to cover first is, it's not always an upper body issue. Is your lower body mobility handled? Do you have good ankle range of motion? Do you have good hip range of motion? Because here's why it matters. There are some people who can get into this position. This is a good front rack position. This is a bad front rack position, holding the bar, stress on your wrist, things like that. But if you can get up here, but you notice that as you go down, this is where you start to feel the wrist pain and stuff like that. It might not actually be your shoulder. It's probably your ankles and your hips. If you can get your hip mobility better, and then get your ankle mobility a little bit better, then you can get into a good bottom position, and it's not actually your upper body. So if you can get into the top position, but you run into trouble as you go down, it's probably your hips and ankles. But if you can't even get into a proper front rack position, then here's what we want to work on. Most people's thoracic spines, their upper spine right up here, is a little bit rounded, so we got to get it a little bit straighter. Get on your roller, put it on your upper back, and just kind of roll up and down. You might get some little pops and clicks. You can put your butt on the ground and kind of roll forward and backwards like you're doing little mini upper back crunches. You can just drape yourself over it and take some deep breaths and sink and feel like you're kind of almost getting broken in a very light way over the roller. And if you do that and kind of feel those upper segments starting to move better, your upper spine segments, then you should find that you can go from maybe here in your front rack to get your spine a little bit straighter, and now maybe you're here, which is a much better platform to kind of hold the bar. So that's the thoracic spine. The other thing that we see a lot is people are very short and tight in their pecs, and we've showed this in the reindeer games video before, but all you need to do is take a lacrosse ball, put it right in the pec, pretend this is a lacrosse ball, lay on the ground with your hand behind your back or somewhere up here, and just massage out and clean up anything that feels tight and dense right here. And then that'll allow your shoulder to kind of get open and back a little bit more rather than being pulled forward like that. So that's your pecs, your lats, and your posterior deltoid. This stuff right here is going to also, if this was all knotted up right here, which is kind of the lat comes in here, the rotator cuff, the posterior deltoid, whatever it is in here, it kind of prevents your arm from getting up and out like that. So same thing, you take your lacrosse ball, which I don't have one on me, but if you were to lay it on the ground right there, right underneath this area, and then just kind of move around on it side to side, external rotation, internal rotation of the arm. You can use this as kind of a headrest if you're going to hang out here for a while. You're just kind of friction around on a little lacrosse ball or a softball right under there and clean up anything that feels junky, and that will really help get that up and out into that strong externally rotated flexion, external rotation of the shoulder position, which is what you need for a front squat. And then the last thing is to take your barbell that you're kind of using, bring it over here. Put your arm on it like this and kind of glide back and forth right down here by the elbow. This area gets really junky, and if you can kind of unglue it a little bit, shear it apart, get any of the knots out, work your way around, you can go out in a circle and across, and that'll make a big difference in being able to get the elbow up higher on this side than on the other side. And the higher you can get it, the better shelf you have, and you'll be able to maintain that shelf the whole time as you're going up and down. So after you've smashed that, unglued anything on this tricep, you can stretch it by putting your elbow up on the wall, leaning away, and then leaning your armpit towards the wall, and then using your other hand to push that hand down. That'll stretch your tricep and improve your front rack and probably eliminate a lot of the wrist pain you guys are feeling. So check out those couple things. Test and retest, so you start in the beginning before you do any of the stretches, any of the smashing. Just see what your front rack, maybe it starts here, and then you do one item and it comes a little bit higher, and And you smash your lats a little higher, a little higher, a little higher, and just keep working on it until you can get all the way up in that position. All right, check it out.